Bam! Welcome back to Shut Up and Watch the Movie. I'm Tyson.
I'm Kristina.
And this is a podcast where we force each other to watch movies the other one hasn't seen. May like it, may not. Oh well. Who cares?
I did not like this one.
Oh, what? The movie? I thought you meant the intro. The way I did the intro.
I don't know how I feel about that.
What, the Bam?
Yeah, the Bam it was kind of aggressive.
Start the podcast with a little bit of excitement.
It was
Bam!
It was a lot.
Kapow! You know, like Batman?
It was just a little intense for me.
Okay, fine. We'll take it down. We'll take it down a notch. We'll have a low-key podcast.
Well, this episode is... I don't know if this will be low-key or not.
Well, it'll be probably short because this is a tight, like, 85-minute movie. Okay, before we get into it, we have a segment we have to do.
Oh my god. What is the segment that we have to do?
Well, we put it up for a vote, and you know what? We had nothing else.
No, that's not true.
Did we have something else?
There was a few other suggestions, but... I mean, a few people told us they liked Teeny Tiny Movie Corner.
I don't know how. Why?
That one, right? That's what it is, Teeny Tiny Movie Corner?
Yeah, it's like teeny, eeny, meeny, little one.
No. Teeny Tiny Movie Corner. Keep it what it is. Don't draw it out. Teeny Tiny Movie Corner.
Then it would be like...
It's kind of catching on to me. Don't make me regret keeping it that way.
Okay, fine. Well, here, since I made you watch the movie this week, you go first.
Okay, my pick for Teeny Tiny Movie Corner this week, I went to go see Sing Sing, which, at least at the time of this recording, is like, there's a limited release right now. It's just LA and New York. But it should be opening up to the whole country in like a week or two.
Mm-hmm.
I wish I knew the exact date. But fantastic movie. It's about a group of guys in prison who are all in a theater group.
Yeah.
And it's very emotional, very uplifting. Something very cool about it that I didn't even know until I watched the movie is that the majority of the cast is like the real guys.
Real prisoners,
who are like
right?
the prisoners like in the real group in real life, and they're like playing themselves, which is like so cool.
Did you say what the plot of the movie was? Can you give like a brief synopsis?
I did.
Did you? I may have zoned out.
I already kind of did that.
All right.
Group of guys in prison and a theater group.
Okay.
But also what was really cool is that it was opening weekend, and so I went and there was like a little Q&A after with some of the actors and some of the production team, which was super cool, and Coleman Domingo was there because he's the lead actor in the movie, and he was dripped out. He looked so sick.
Wow. You're really in the industry now.
What can I say, you guys? Like, I'm making big waves.
You really shoehorned your way into the...
I saw Coleman Domingo at a movie theater, and he spoke, not to me, but to the room, you know, and I was there in it, so I think I'm famous now?
Wasn't John Legend also there?
John Legend was in the lobby. There was another Q&A, and we thought John Legend was doing both of them, but it turns out he was only doing one, and it was not the one that we were... He was just moderating it. I don't think he has anything to do with the movie. Yeah, I'm not really sure why, but we saw him in the lobby. He went to he walked past us and went to the bathroom.
Yeah, you got a photo of him walking away.
I did, because I probably could have asked for a selfie.
Okay, here's my mentality. If I were to ever see someone famous, let them go about their day. They get enough of it as it is. They're not going to remember you.
Well, I didn't, so...
Well, I'm proud of you for doing that.
Thank you. I feel like it depends on who I would see and what I would say, but I feel like in that context... Also, he was like kind of... He was busy. He had to get to his thing, so he had other things to do.
Exactly.
But,
you know,
anyway...
And a lesser person might have stopped him.
There were people stopping him and taking selfies. But the important thing is this, of all this, Sing Sing, great movie, go see it when it comes out. It was awesome.
All right, well, I got down to the rodeo, and I watched Twisters this week. Brand new movie.
I'm going to see it this weekend. I'm excited, but I haven't seen it yet.
I thought it was pretty good. I guess for people who don't know, it's a movie about twisters in Oklahoma and some storm chasers.
Everyone at least has an idea of what's going on.
I realize we have to...
Glenn Powell's there.
We have to help the audience sometimes because maybe they don't know. Anyway, Glenn Powell and Daisy Edgar Jones are like storm chasers. Two different types. Like one's scientific, and then Glenn Powell is redneck storm chaser who does it for YouTube. And they kind of clash, and they kind of have like a little rivalry going as they try to chase down some tornadoes. Yeah, I thought it was pretty good. I thought it was fun, pretty harmless. I don't really have many super complex thoughts about it.
Now, is it true that they don't even kiss in the movie?
Okay, so I guess spoiler alert, you can skip ahead like 30 seconds. No, they don't kiss.
What's the point?
Okay, but apparently...
Why cast hot actors if no kiss? What?
No, but on the ride home, our roommate was like, well, apparently Spielberg, you know, he was the executive producer, and he saw it, and apparently they did kiss at the beginning, but then he was like... No,
I haven't seen the movie yet.
The original
like
cut of the movie.
Oh.
And then I guess he was like, doesn't work for me, take it out.
Boo. So, respectfully, I love you, Spielberg, but what?
I can't confirm that.
Why? I don't even want to go see it anymore. Why? What's the point?
Really nihilistic? I don't know. There's plenty of things to love.
I mean, Glenn Powell's still in it, I guess. And I like Daisy Edgar Jones, although I heard her accent was bad. But
It didn't bother me.
Oh, okay.
But I guess I'm not from Oklahoma. So
I haven't seen it yet. I like to try not to judge things before I've seen them. But
North Carolina's close enough to Oklahoma. No, is it? Where is Oklahoma on the map?
Oklahoma's like in the Midwest. We're not really that close.
Where's North Carolina?
The east, like the southeast.
Oh, those are different directions.
Yeah,
that's like completely different directions.
I was like, they're not that close. I don't know why.
That was a really stupid thing.
You were really bad at geography. No. That was bad.
Okay.
But also, I know I did my tiny movie corner, but I just want to say, I feel like your influence is rubbing off on me because 3 of the last 4 movies I've watched have all been horror movies.
Exciting.
Crazy.
Love a thrill. Love a horror film.
Crazy. Let's get into this one because it was probably my least favorite.
Well, first of all, I made Kristina watch The Strangers, directed and written by Brian Bertino. I was under the impression people liked this movie, but I was fighting for my life to defend this. You didn't like it, Cassian didn't like it. You know, we looked it up on Letterboxd before, and it has, it's in the direct middle. And I was like, that seems a little low. I mean, fuck me, I guess, for sharing a movie I liked.
Also, going into it knowing not that much, I thought that people generally liked this movie. I was kind of surprised when I think Cassian mentioned, the Letterboxd rating is not high. I thought people liked it. We'll get into my personal opinions.
So
I have a lot to say.
I'm going to give a quick, brief little rundown before we get into the plot. So basically the whole conceit of the movie is that this, newly broken up couple are having to stay the night at a cabin, and they get, visited by some strangers. I'm trying to think of, the way to say it. They get, fucked around with
these people trying to invade the home.
Few masked people.
You might be about to explain this.
Uh-huh.
It says, based on a true story.
Yes.
And I tried not to look it up because I'm sure you were going to tell me it, but I was like, how much is this, actually true?
Okay, so we're not a true crime podcast.
We are not.
And you know what? The ethics of true crime podcasting, whatever.
That's a whole different conversation.
So when I say this purely for film educational purposes.
Yes.
I always thought this movie was based off are you familiar with the Ketty Cabin murders?
I don't think so, no.
So the Ketty Cabin murders were 2 families were staying in these cabins in a small town, and basically the kid came back from the other family's cabin.
Okay.
And when he walked in, he found his whole family murdered in the cabin.
That's
It's sad. It's very sad. But apparently this movie isn't based off that. Apparently that's just a misconception.
Oh, it's just a similar
This movie is
thing that happened.
apparently based off a series of break-ins from Brian Bertino's life. From his childhood.
Oh, God.
And then also the Manson family murders. The Ketty Cabin murders are much more closely similar to what this movie is. So
okay, so it's a similar story, but it just is more coincidental. It's not actually what it's based on.
Because I don't get
It was based on his own life?
Look, the extent of the research I did for this was pulling up the Wikipedia article.
That's just...
And it says it was based
I can
off
understand
his childhood.
why he would make horror movies if that happened to him as a child. That's really sad.
I don't think this one-to-one I think he probably...
Wait a second. I'm sorry, I have the Wikipedia page pulled up for the synopsis. It says a series of break-ins.
That's what I said.
Okay. I don't know, I was thinking this movie gets way more intense than just some break-ins.
No,
but...
yeah. I'm not saying it was... He probably, someone probably broke into, his neighbor's house, and it freaked him out as a kid.
Fair enough. I'd be freaked out if somebody broke in. Even if it wasn't, violent. That's still scary.
I really like this movie because I really like what it does with staging and direction, and I think it's genuinely one of the scarier movies I've seen.
Yeah, this was probably top 2. Up there with Hereditary for me. Personally.
Really?
Yeah.
Let's get into the plot. So, their names are James and Kristen. I didn't know their names.
I have no... Did they ever... I don't know if they ever... I'm sure they say them at some point.
It's Scott Speedman and...
It's Guy and girl.
And Liv Tyler.
That's really... There's the guy and there's the girl.
And so they're coming back from, a wedding reception.
Yeah.
And he had...
This whole movie is just karma because this man, they're, at the wedding reception and they're dating, they're together, and he proposes to her at the wedding reception. That's rule number 1.
Is that a
maybe
faux pas?
number 2. You cannot propose at someone else's wedding. That is an I mean, I don't even want to say to be fair because it's still unacceptable. But he did he didn't make a scene in the reception. He went outside.
Technically,
and did
they were
privately.
Technically, they were outside of the wedding.
Still, you don't because hypothetically, if she had said yes and they go back inside and they're like, oh my god, we're engaged, and then it takes attention away from the main couple. Like, that is just like a number one, like, wedding, that and don't wear white. Don't wear a white dress. Those are like the two biggest wedding rules. And he broke the first one in the first like 10 minutes of the movie. Yeah, bad things are gonna happen to you. No wonder, dude.
Okay, speaking of dresses, you have apparently some very
Oh my
choice...
god,
Okay.
this girl's dress was so ugly. She looked...
What? That's so mean.
No, she's a very beautiful woman. It's not her fault,
She
okay? She's great. Love her. Her dress... ugly.
I thought
she
it looked
looks
fine.
like it looks like the nightgown of like a 10-year-old Victorian child.
What?
Like, it is so frumpy and like it's not like she's very pretty, but it's not flattering on her. And it has like some tulle on it. Oh, it's such an ugly dress. It's like almost lavender, but it looks like it's been like faded. Like it looks like it's 100 years old. It's so
I thought the
it
dress
made
was
me
fine.
mad. It made me mad because I was like, girl, dress better. I was like, you're pretty. You should dress better.
Damn.
Anyway,
Wow.
that's more an attack at the costuming department than her because I think she's great. That dress is just very ugly.
So basically, they're on the way back because he proposes and she's like,
She says no.
She's like, that's not what this was.
Which, what did he expect proposing at a wedding?
Okay, but that's not the if he had proposed the next day,
She still would have said no, but that's what he gets.
So they go to a cabin where he had set up like a bunch of petals, thinking she was going to say yes, and
Yeah.
like he's like decked it all out. I think it's
really
his
bad.
like family's
That's
cabin.
awkward.
It's not even a cabin. It's like a house.
I think it's just, I think it is just like a house.
But it's like a rustic style house.
It's kind of in the middle of nowhere. That's what it seems like anyway.
Yeah.
There's like not really anyone around.
And basically, he calls his friend, and he's like, it's like 4 a.m., you got to come pick me up, because I'm going to give her the car, because we're all the way out here in
Right.
bumfuck nowhere, and she didn't say yes to my proposal.
Yeah, he's like, we can't really hang out right now. Like, things are not good.
And then that's the end of that plot thread for a long time.
Yeah,
And
that
then-
doesn't really...
That
I
comes-
think it's just, like, to establish some characters, you know?
Yeah, and it'll
just
come
to, like,
back.
have us, like,
But,
have someone to root for, I guess, even though...
Okay,
I don't have any problems with her, just the way she dresses.
I thought they were fine. So when I was looking up the criticisms of the movie, people said, oh, they don't act well and they're not likable. I thought they were a very
Like,
real...
the actors don't act well?
Yeah, I thought they were very
Oh.
realistic, and I felt, I don't know, I
No, I didn't
empathized.
have a problem with that. I thought they were both good actors. That's weird.
I empathized with them, and then I felt
Yeah.
like people get onto them for some of the decisions they make later. But I don't know, I felt like they handled the situation in as realistic of a way as the movie could have done.
Yeah, I agree. That wasn't a problem for me.
Okay, we'll get into what is the problem
things
for
that
you
plagued
later.
me.
Basically, as they kind of are bumming around the house, and they're like, okay, what do we do? They're about to have rebound sex.
Yeah, they very quickly are like, maybe we do love each other. Like, I don't even know.
I don't
even
think
know
so.
how the events lead up to
I
that.
think it's just like breakup
all
sex,
of a sudden
right?
they're, yeah, sure.
It's just them, rush of emotions.
They start getting on.
But anyway, then a knock at the
wait, that
door.
was not
I
loud.
was
I
really
tried
hoping
to
that was
knock.
going to scare you when I knocked.
I watched you do it.
Oh, I guess that's true.
I also tried to knock, but then it didn't make any noise, so...
A
So knock at the door.
A knock at the door happened.
Keep in mind, it's like supposedly like what, 2 a.m., 3 a.m.?
They said like 4 a.m.
4 a.m. Very late.
And
Would you, if somebody knocked on our door at 4 a.m., would you go answer it?
I wouldn't be out here. But no, I wouldn't. No, who's knocking at 4 a.m. That would be no. I'm
Okay, good.
unless
Good answer.
unless they stayed there. But anyway, here's what.
Unless they're like, it's the police let us in. But then even then it could be a trick.
Well, what if they don't leave? What if
Not-
they just keep knocking?
I'd call 911.
Really?
Personally. I mean, I'd probably look through a peephole and see if I could see who it is.
Okay,
and
this door didn't have a peephole.
possibly talk. Yeah. I also thought that was strange. I was like, why don't you have a peephole? Like, I feel like I've never seen that before.
I don't think front doors to like a house have peepholes.
Yes, they do.
This house, no, they don't.
Yes, they do.
Only in like apartments.
No, front doors have peepholes.
Your residential neighborhood house does not have a
Yes,
peephole.
they do. I swear.
I promise you they don't.
My home in North Carolina is a bad example because there's like a big window in the door. But like, yes,
Yeah.
they do.
Put your money on that. I'm gonna Google residential house right now.
Wait, if I'm right, what do I get?
What do you want?
Ooh, I don't know.
Is there a way
or
we
what
can?
do you get if you're right?
So if I pull up residential house and there's a peephole on the door.
Do like residential house front door because I don't think if it's like
Front-
zoomed out, you're not gonna be able to see.
Okay, and then if it has a peephole,
Well, what if there's like one picture that has like a window in the front door and then the next one has a peephole? Like I feel like that's unfair. Like
first one that doesn't have a window if it has a peephole.
okay.
Okay, and if you get this, you get a favor, which we'll discuss off the pod when we can figure out a way to bring it back. And then then I'll get something.
Okay, yeah, you're right.
Okay. Residential house, front door, enter. Okay, that has a window.
That has a big window.
Okay, that has a window. Okay, that has a window.
Okay, well, not all houses have windows.
Okay, that has a window.
This is not helpful.
That has a window. That has a window. That has a window. Okay, first one without a window.
I feel like there's people there.
No people. Look at that. No people.
That's a bad house.
What do you...
That's wrong.
First one without a window, and it's no people.
Okay, so
I win.
I still think you're wrong, but I'm a woman of my word. I see what you see. I owe you a favor.
Okay.
I will accept that.
Oh,
Oh, I didn't like that at all.
all right.
Don't do that
I don't know
again.
what possessed me there. Anyway, they go to the door, and it's this woman in there, and the porch light's off. They can't see her. And she's like, is Tamara home?
Why did you do that so creepy?
Because that's how she sounded.
It is creepy.
And then
they're like,
no.
we don't know Tamara.
Who the fuck is Tamara?
No.
And she's like, okay, bye.
And they're like, okay, that was weird.
That creep you out? When you watched the movie, this part?
Yeah. I have to be so real. I feel like I blacked out most of it. I feel like I
Really?
don't even remember most of it. This is like one of those movies where like we watched it and I was so unsettled and like my heart was racing and I was like, I can't like go to bed now. So like I watched...
Okay, after we finished it, did you actually have trouble with sleeping at all?
Well, I decided to watch an episode or two of Abbott Elementary and then I went to bed.
Okay.
I was like, I can't go straight to sleep after this. Like,
Okay.
this is not...
So it had the intended effect.
Oh, yeah, I was scared. I was like, I can't go to bed because I feel so scared right now. So I watched some Abbott Elementary because I love it and it's happy. It didn't put me to sleep, but I was like, oh, I can like go to sleep peacefully now, you know?
So she's like, well, now I want cigarettes. And Scott Speedman, this simp for this woman that just broke your heart, he's
All
like,
right.
okay, I'll go to the store and I'll buy you cigarettes.
He offers to pick her up cigarette. I don't know.
At 4 a.m.?
Where is he gonna go, I guess? That's my question. Like a 24
gas
hour
station?
or like a gas station. But they're also like kind of in the middle of nowhere. I feel like so respectfully I'd be like,
Even more,
can you wait till tomorrow?
even
Like-
more case that it's crazy that he did that.
Yeah, true.
So he goes,
But he also they build a fire. They have a fireplace. In the
Yeah, they
house.
build a fire.
Kind of just because it comes back in. They build a fire.
he lights a fire for
There's
her.
a fire in the fireplace. He
Continues
leaves.
to wait on her hand and foot, even though she just called
Rejected
off.
him?
Yeah, rejected your proposal.
It wasn't like mean though.
No, it wasn't mean, but I'm just saying, like, maybe, you know, if you have a breakup
Maybe
with
like
somebody,
give some space.
if
I
you have a breakup
guess.
with somebody, I'm not going to go out immediately and buy them cigarettes at 4 a.m. You get what I'm saying?
If you're still down bad for them, you might.
I guess he's still in the denial phase.
He wanted to marry her. She rejected him, so he's going through it.
She kind of freaks herself out while he's gone because the woman comes back, knocks on the door. Does she open it here the second time?
I don't think so. I think the woman just asks again, like, is Tamara home? And again, she's
like, hey, no.
Like, you've already been here. Go away.
And then here's where the movie starts getting really good.
This is where, like, creepy stuff for real starts happening.
And this
Like,
is-
I mean, the Tamara thing was creepy, but, like, not, like, it was just kind of like, okay, that's weird.
Yeah, it's a little weird.
It's a
Okay,
little
but
weird.
now if somebody showed up to your house and then they were like, is Tamara home? Wouldn't that freak you the fuck out now?
I'd leave.
The house?
Yeah.
They're out there, though. You can't leave. The strangers are
I don't know.
outside.
We're in LA. I feel like we could get out. We're not in the middle of absolutely nowhere
I guess this is
with
true.
no one around to help.
She changes out of the ugly dress you hate, and she puts
She
on,
does. She puts on
like a flannel
more
and pants,
practical outfit.
which good on her.
Good on her.
Smart
if
thinking.
you're gonna be fighting bad people, you don't be in an ugly dress.
And the
you know?
best shot of the movie, I mean, this is the poster, is she's kind of standing in the house, and
Oh,
then
yeah.
and then in the back hallway, a guy with a mask, not the
Like-
girl,
no,
a guy
no,
with a
no.
mask steps in.
Well, I
He's
guess we
inside
don't
the
really
house,
know. Yeah, there's just a guy that like just silently pops out of nowhere.
and he just watches her.
it's
and
very creepy.
and she doesn't notice him, and she goes to get water, and he kind of just stands
it's
there.
very well done because it's like it's super creepy.
That's what I'm saying. The first half of this movie is just a bunch of stuff like that, and I think it's so simple and
It's
effective.
not like loud. It's not like trying to like
Uh-huh.
I don't know. Like it's not trying too hard. It's just like he just walks in and stands there.
And that's why I wanted to show it to you, because I think it's exceptionally well directed. If the issues are with the plot, we'll get into it. But this is one of the reasons why I really like this movie is how well it's staged.
No, that part was that was creepy. That was well done. And the whole, like, his whole image is just, like, he looks like he's probably a big guy.
They all look creepy.
The mask is, like, smiley face kind of on it.
Yeah, he wears like a
Like, it's like a bag over his head.
yeah, he wears like a bag, like a potato sack, like a burlap sack, and
Yeah.
then the two girls that are also the strangers,
They wear, like, masks.
like doll face masks.
Yeah.
But you see how like this movie was influential to things like The Purge. Okay.
I haven't seen The Purge, but sure.
I haven't actually really seen any of the Purge movies before, but I know the first Purge movie is exactly like this. It's like a home invasion, and they're wearing creepy masks.
Okay.
I feel like this did so much for the home invasion subgenre.
I don't know if I've seen any home invasion movies, and I probably won't because I feel like I find it really, really scary.
It's realistic.
I don't like it, yeah.
There's a movie which you were interested in called Funny Games.
I don't know if I'm interested in that. I have heard of that movie, and I know a little bit about it. I don't know if I really want to watch it.
That movie is exceptionally ahead of its time. It's like a criticism of movies exactly like this.
Interesting.
And like the way people find sick enjoyment in watching this stuff happen to people. Oh. I can see both sides, frankly. I respect both. I like watching the sick shit, and then I like seeing the criticism of people who watch the sick shit.
So of you.
Yeah.
The criticism of you.
But look, I'm open-minded. I'll listen to any argument.
Well, and you know what? That's why I would never choose to watch this, but I will watch. I'm open to watching pretty much anything.
Well, I'm not.
I have certain boundaries.
It's like the first half of that movie is so, I wouldn't say similar. It's very much a lot like this one that it would be redundant to show that to you for a while. So you're good. You're good.
I'm good for a while. That's good because I don't think I'd like that one either. I also, let me just be clear. I feel like I'm saying I don't like this movie. I think it is a very well-made movie, and I think that it's interesting that it's very poorly rated because I do have some complaints, but I don't think it's a bad movie. It's just like, for me personally, as someone who's not into horror movies, this was a lot. This is like not what I'm personally into, just personal taste-wise. But I don't think it was a bad movie. Even though I do have complaints, but we can get into those. Yeah,
we keep saying we're going to get... Much like this movie, we keep threatening our criticisms, which we're going to get into later. We keep building up to something.
Yeah, I mean, that's kind of our problem with the movie. But let's keep going.
Okay, where were we? God, this podcast is in shambles.
The guy with the mask comes in, and then...
The fire...
Well, okay, so I feel like this is important because it's like, we now know... Because the whole movie, I feel like she spends thinking, there's these people outside... We now know that they've been inside.
Yeah, they can get inside.
They can get inside easily without detection. Like, I feel like that's really scary because she doesn't know that.
Uh-huh.
But, like, and so there's, like, parts where it's, like, they're like, we can't let them in. And it's like, they've been inside. They know how to get in there.
This is why I think this movie is really creepy because technically, you never really know if anybody is in your house at any point.
Okay.
You know what I mean? No, I'm just saying, like... Okay, I used to do this thing...
I hate that thought.
I used to do this thing when I was little, is I would take a knife from the kitchen, and if I was home alone, and I did this well into high school, I'm not ashamed to admit it.
Oh, no.
But it's like, I would take a knife, and if I was home alone for, like, the night, or, like, the weekend, or for whatever reason, I would survey every single room in the house and the closets, because anybody could be anywhere.
That's kind of dark.
What do you mean, dark? I was being... observant, and I was protecting I didn't stab it. What? I mean, nothing happened.
I know, but like, I just like...
What is that? Is that weird to say?
It just seems like a lie. I don't know.
That's not a lot.
To be home alone and just like automatically just like have to be like, I gotta go into protection mode. Like,
no, I'm just saying, like, you know, as a horror movie fan, if you get creeped out, you're like, okay, well, now I gotta go check all the rooms in the house. That's like a common...
I can't relate, but I'm sure other people
really?
Do. I mean, like, I'm sure, like, I've been home alone before and, like, heard a noise and been, like, scared, but, like, don't think I've, like, ever surveyed the entire house with a weapon in hand, like, ready.
Well, you gotta be ready. And that's why you will die at the hand of the strangers and I won't.
Yeah, I don't think I make it out of this movie alive, to be fair.
I am. I'm prepared.
I don't know if you would.
This is, okay,
but
my whole life has been...
I'm curious to see who makes out of this alive.
My whole life has been... in service of training for this exact scenario.
That's sad. That's not
sad. That's prepared.
That's a scare. Like, why? Also, it's not like this is like a common thing. Like, this is like...
Okay, well...
It has happened, sure, but like, it's not like, you gotta watch it, you gotta be ready, you gotta be vigilant, like...
I guess we forgot to...
I don't know, I don't like to live my life in fear, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
I know joy, I know happiness.
I know those things too, but I'm prepared.
I know peace on a Sunday afternoon.
Is that a reference to something?
I feel like it is, but I don't know.
You just said that? Okay,
I just said it.
So I guess we forgot to mention at the beginning of this movie, it's like, this is based on a true story.
Well, okay,
Bajillion
but
violent
also,
crimes
I feel
in
like
America.
it's important to, like, make a distinction between a break-in is not the same as what's happening in this movie.
I mean, it is break-in.
Like, this is a break-in, but, like, usually if somebody were like, oh, our house is broken into, I would assume that, like, they stole some jewelry or something. Not that they were, like, out to, like, mess with the people in the house and cause terror and, like, kill.
I always assume if someone's breaking in, that's it. They're coming for everybody.
No. Just because from, like, a hypothetical standpoint, like, if you're a criminal, okay? And you are gonna break into a house.
Yeah.
Like, if your goal is to steal something and you get caught, then, like, that's one thing. But, like, if you steal something and you kill someone and get caught, then, like, you're, like, it's, like, a bigger risk. Just from, like, a logical standpoint, like, you're in jail way longer. Like, it's a way bigger risk, you know? So it's, like, if you're gonna go into a rich home and, like, steal some jewelry or something, then, like, it's, like, a targeted thing. Do you get what I'm saying?
I get what you're saying.
Like, I don't think that if somebody broke into a house, I don't think they want to kill anyone unless, like, that was their intention from the beginning. Unless they, like, absolutely have to.
Logistically, I hear what you're saying. However, I was prepared for the worst scenario, which is a crazy person who's out for murder.
The thought has entered everyone's mind, for sure. I feel like one of my biggest, most irrational fears is if I got murdered in the shower, because I don't want anyone to find me.
I stand, like, my back to the wall so I can see, like, the curtain.
When you shower?
Yeah, well, my back is to the to the faucet so I can see everything.
Oh, I mean, I think I stand that way, but I don't think that's why. I think that's just
No,
how
I survey.
Showered.
Sometimes I'll even check, like, the curtain in the middle of the shower if I, like, suspect it. I get, like, a hunch. I get, like, a premonition.
Are you just paranoid? Are you just, like, a really paranoid person?
I'm not, like, a really I'm prepared.
It sounds a little paranoid to me. I don't know.
I like to stay on top of things.
Stay vigilant.
Anyway, the movie starts and it's like, a bajillion of these crimes happen in America.
Happens to everyone all the time.
And they show, like, a montage at the beginning of the movie where it's like they drive by.
Oh, that montage was dumb.
Where they drive by just, like, normal houses.
Actually, I will say, I wasn't even going to bring it up, but since you did, that pissed me off.
All kinds of houses. Little trailers.
It was
little McMansions.
It was just like little houses, and it just cut to black like a million times, and I was like, it was too much. I was like, I get it. Like,
all class,
where's the movie?
all races, all creeds.
Where's the movie? Let's get into it. I don't know what's happening right now.
Anybody could be susceptible to random acts of violence.
I thought that the whole movie was just going to keep cutting to black every 5 seconds, because that's what that little montage was, and it made me annoyed. But that didn't happen for this movie, so I was like, okay, whatever.
But, and I guess we'll get into this. I'll save this discussion when we get to the end of the movie, when we reveal why they're doing this. When we get to the little reveal. Because I have a whole interesting thing I want to go into. Okay, so the fire that they set off in the fireplace, I guess they didn't open up the chimney, so the smoke has started to come up, and the fire alarm goes off, and she goes
so
up.
they just, like, ripped it off.
And she just rips off the fire alarm.
This is after the guy with the mask, like,
or
is behind
before.
her.
I don't know, it happens at roughly
Well,
the same
okay,
point.
well, I think they take down the smoke alarm before he enters.
Yes, okay.
Then he does the whole little thing where he comes on screen silently, and it's super creepy. And then she goes back over to where he was, but she never saw him. She doesn't know he's there. And then the fire alarm has been moved.
Yes, and then...
What?
And her...
Oh my god.
Was her phone thrown into the fire at this point? Her phone was,
I think so, yeah.
cut
She
off.
starts looking for her phone, and she can't find it, and then I think it shows that it's burning in the fireplace.
Basically, now she's kind of clued in. By the fact that they come around again and the thing moved, I think she's realizing that the Tamara girl is, like, fucking with her.
Yeah, because also, front door's open.
Yes.
And then she looks at the front door, and, like, in the yard, that girl is just, like, standing there staring at the house.
And so she
she's like...
She closes and locks
weird.
it, and then she kind of takes a knife and she kind of surveys the curtains, and then Tamara girl, wearing a mask, jumps up in the window. This is when she thinks she's being attacked before Scott Speedman gets home.
Okay. Does she call him at some point? I feel like she... Oh, wait, no, it's when he gets home. Never mind.
Yeah, and then...
Sorry, like I said, I feel like I honestly feel like I blacked out most of
So
the
here's
movie.
the thing. A lot of this movie is not really in a consequential order, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Things just kind of happen.
Yeah, things just kind of happen, and I feel like the scary part of this movie, it's the tension that's built up. It's not really the actual things that are happening, it's just like the small little noises, and it's the paranoia building, and it's... The smoke alarm thing got moved. Like, that's not, like, anything crazy, but it's like, oh my god, like, someone's in the house.
If that happened
like,
to you, you would...
You'd freak out.
I think my initial reaction would be like, I guess I did that. I don't even think I would jump to somebody.
But she's already so paranoid because there's already weird stuff going on.
Scott Speedman comes home, and he tells her, oh, well, I didn't see anybody. You're fine. And they go...
She's, like, freaking out. Like, I think she was, like, hiding in a room or something, and he comes in.
Yeah.
And she's like, oh my god, like, she's like, no, like, somebody was in the house, like, I swear to you, like, somebody's outside, like, that girl was outside, like, people are here, like, you don't know what's, like, you don't understand, like, she's freaking out. He's trying to calm her down. He's trying to be like, it's fine, like, nobody's here, da-da-da.
But then that doesn't even last very long, because I think he sees them pretty close after that. Like, she's like watching from afar.
She's like in the yard, like just staring at the house.
I mean, I think he goes to the car, and I think it gets attacked.
Well, wait. When he goes to the car, isn't there like...
It's like broken.
They like smashed the windshield, I think.
Yeah.
Because he goes out there to get his phone. I think he left his phone in the car, and he's like, okay, I'm just gonna like call someone. But
and so they
also, what year is this?
It's like 2005.
Okay, so.
And so it continues. They continue to fuck with them, and I think they try to escape out of the car, but shit gets real.
Well, someone like taps him on the shoulder, right?
Yeah, he's like examining. Yeah, they just continue to fuck with him. We're not gonna go through every single little specific thing they do, but
they're messing with them.
And then they try to get out of the car, broken as it is, and like I think Bagman takes like a truck and rams it into the back of the car.
Oh wait, that's right, because they try to get in the car to leave.
Yeah.
And they're like pulling out, but then like the other car, they're kind of stuck. Mm-hmm. There's a car behind them, but there's nowhere to go in front of them because it's just the house.
Then he goes around and...
So they run back inside.
And he's thinking, okay, what do I do? And he's like, oh, I used to go hunting with my dad, is what he tells her. And he knows that they have a shotgun.
Let's get a gun. Also, okay, to backtrack a little bit. Earlier on, she's at home alone, the girl's knocking on the door, she's freaked out. She goes to get a knife. Personally... Hypothetically, what would I do in this situation? They have like the fireplace right there, right? Which makes me think there's probably a little fire sticky
fire poker
thing.
You were talking about this the whole time. You're like, where's the fire poker?
I was like, why wouldn't she grab that? And then I think you were like, well, how is that better? And I'm like, because it's more distance. I'm like, a knife is like small. You have to get close up if you're going to do any damage with that. That you got a little bit of space between you. You could like stick it out arm's length and like do some damage without having to stand right next to the person.
You're more prepared than you give yourself credit for.
Thank you.
You don't have to be paranoid like me to...
I'm just, like, smart, I guess. I don't know.
I wouldn't have thought of fire poker. I would have
really?
thought... I would have
that
thought
was, like, my first thought when, like, because she was standing right by the fire, and the door, they're knocking on the door, and I was like, get the poker. Mm-hmm. Like, that would be, like, a good weapon in that situation, I think.
It would be.
But you know what's even better? The gun they get.
They do, and so he gets a shotgun.
You gotta get a gun.
And like,
that's the best case scenario, honestly.
And it's like, well, I know nothing about guns. I guess a shotgun, you have to kind of like put the two pieces together.
Yeah, I mean,
it's like an old
rifle.
It's like an old rifle or shotgun, and he puts it together.
Yeah.
And she's like, do you know how to do that? And he's like, no, I actually lied. I don't.
Also, is it at this point that they start like banging on the door?
I mean, I think we're past that, but yeah, I think they are.
Oh, okay. There's a point where they're like, it's not just like knocking anymore. They're like banging on the door.
Well, I mean, they rammed him with a pickup truck. I think we're past. So they go into a closet. He gets ammo, and he's like, okay, I'm just going to shoot them when they come up.
Right.
Oh, I guess I didn't mention this, but they have a record player. And another thing I really like about this movie is that really good sound design.
I do like the song choices.
There's a part where...
It's well done.
It's like creepy old country music, but then it's like there's one part where the record like scratches and it loops, and it's like a 2-second loop of like just the tiniest fragment of the song, and when that loops over and over again, it's terrifying.
That sounds, I don't remember this, but that sounds really cool. And I remember I thought the song choices were like, well, like they added to like the atmosphere.
It was really creepy.
Sure. Oh my god. So they're sitting in the corner. And like prepared to shoot whoever.
Shoot whoever.
And guess who shows up? Yeah, I was so excited. You told me at the beginning, you were like, someone funny's going to be in this. And I was like, what? You were like, it's someone from It's Always Sunny, which I love It's Always Sunny. And I was like, oh my gosh, I bet my boy Dennis is a serial killer.
He is in the movie.
He is in the movie. He's not a serial killer.
He's not a serial killer.
It's one of those cases where it's like, I feel like certain like people from sitcoms, like you just can't take them. Not that I can't take him seriously. Like, obviously, he's, like, an actual actor, and I'm pretty sure he went to, like, Juilliard or something crazy.
Yeah, he's, like, classically trained.
He's, like, a very, classically trained actor, but, like, he shows up, and I'm like, oh, my God, it's Dennis Reynolds! Let's go! Real actress, he was Glenn Howerton. Yeah. But he shows up, because I guess he's the friend that...
He called at the very
main guy was calling at the beginning and be like, hey, can you pick me up tomorrow? But, like, he's like, oh, I was nearby. But then he's looking at the house.
And it's like fucked up. It's like the car is destroyed, the front door's open.
He's like, there's some weird stuff going on here. So he walks in and he's like trying to be like completely quiet and silent. He grabs something. He grabs like a car or something.
You think I think he grabs the fire poker.
Yeah, wait, you're right. He grabs
like a long thing.
Fire poker stick thing. I think that's what it was. I'm honestly not sure.
Maybe
it was
it's
like
just
some sort of bar or something. I don't know.
Maybe it's
like a lead pipe. It's like a game of Clue. It's like, which weapon are you going to use? You do like not any practical ones. It's got to be like
a candelabra.
Yeah, I did like it looked like a lead pipe. Honestly, I don't think that's what it was. Okay. It might have been the fire poker sticker thingy.
I don't want to sidetrack too much, but can we talk about the weapons in Clue?
The weapons in Clue? What about the weapons in Clue?
Well, it's like...
the only one that throws me off is the candlestick, because...
Okay, how are you killing somebody with a candlestick?
Whack them really hard in the head.
Okay, but like...
I agree that that's random.
I don't know.
What are the other ones?
I was playing Clue, and I was like...
I love Clue.
How could I... Clue's my favorite game, and no one ever wanted to play it with
I
me.
love Clue. Okay, actually, my friends and I, this is continuing to sidetrack more, but my friends and I got them to play Clue with me once.
Yeah.
And one of my friends cheated.
Oh my god.
She withheld information. She didn't because when you go around, you ask, oh, I think it was I think it was Mr. Mustard with the rope in the living room or whatever. And she had one of the cards and she didn't show it. So I made my final guess and I was wrong because she hadn't shown me the card. And then she revealed after the game that she hadn't showed it to me. And then we actually had a big fight about it. And now we're not allowed to play board games together anymore. We're still friends. Everything's fine.
Okay, well...
It was my very close friend group. But we don't play board games anymore because I'm like, oh my god, you are a cheater.
Well, yeah.
And she's like, no, I'm just smart and I played the game. And I'm like, no, you cheated.
You were not in the wrong there.
Thank you.
You completely followed the rules.
Also, I'm competitive, so that's partly on me for maybe taking it too seriously. But also, I would have won.
Rules in society exist for a reason. If we don't follow rules, it's chaos, if you will. It's a fucking kangaroo court.
Listen. I will play. I love a good board game. I get competitive, but if I lose fairly, I will accept the loss. But that was not a fair loss. I was in the right there. I deserve compensation for that. But yeah, we don't play board games in that friend group anymore. Because we actually argued about it.
Yeah, no, it sounds honestly, I don't even think I'd be friends with them anymore. Not to get into your business.
We're still very good friends, but
that's fine. But
the friendship runs a little too deep to lose over a Clue game.
If that happened to me, I'd be like, how can I trust you ever again?
Well, that's we played Uno recently, and that's a risky game to play, honestly, with a group of friends. That's a friendship ruining game.
Oh yeah, we did play Uno.
You continuously attacked me when we played Uno, actually.
Well, look, you need somebody to go after.
Oh, so you were just screw Kristina, I guess. Let me just +4, +2, skip, anyway, we're gonna...
What is... Okay.
Don't get me started on Uno.
We gotta get back on the movie.
Pissing me off now. Now I'm pissed for no reason. Now I'm just pissed at all these games where everybody is treating... why am I the one... it's because I'm better than everyone else, and I just...
Jesus Christ. Okay, harness the energy.
My competitive energy is coming out right now.
Use it for the podcast.
Where are
for the greater good. Use it to get our listeners.
Okay, I'm trying to get back on track, and I can't think now with you talking. Okay.
Oh yeah, Dennis shows up.
He walks in, he's got the poker thingy, he's trying to be really quiet. I don't know why he wouldn't be like, hey, are you guys there?
Yeah, no, I probably would.
I probably would have done that. But he's silent. He's surveying the scene. He sees that there's furniture's been moved around at this point. Stuff is weird. He's got his lead pipe poker thing. He's got his weapon.
His clue weapon.
His clue weapon, exactly.
Okay, and so he walks up to the door and then they shoot him.
Yep.
We gotta get through this. So they shoot him and he's like,
Trying to build
oh,
suspense.
fuck. He's like, I cannot believe I shot my friend. They made me shoot my friend because they made me all paranoid, and then I shot the first person I saw.
That is sad, but I don't blame him, you know?
But also, I think it's a fun little twist to the movie. I think it's pretty fucked up.
It's bad. Don't get me wrong. It's bad to murder your friends, but
all right, here
in his situation, I don't know. I would be don't put too much blame on yourself, kind of, you know.
Okay, and so here is where
what else are you supposed to do?
I'm gonna bring this up here because this just made me think of it. They came out with there's a sequel to this movie, and then I guess they remade it, and they're doing a remake trilogy of this movie.
Is it the same director who's doing it? Just
no. He only did the first one. This is Rennie Harlin, director of Deep Blue Sea, Die Hard 2, Cliffhanger. Basically, but the remake is no ill will towards this movie. I like Rennie Harlin. I'm not sure whose ideal it was. It's a 1-to-1 remake of this movie. Mm-hmm. And it's just slightly worse. And I'm just I was kind of, I guess it's part 1 of 3.
Okay.
So I guess we'll see where it goes after, but they pretty much just did this movie as part 1. I'm like, well, why did we do, I don't know, I just they do the shooting, it's not the friend, it's a mechanic who comes to visit them that they called, but it's they do all the main beats from this movie.
This had that girl from Riverdale in it, right?
I have not seen Riverdale.
The redhead?
But yes, there is a redhead in it.
Yeah, I think she's from Riverdale. I haven't watched Riverdale since freshman year of high school, but that's just, I think the people that are in Riverdale, I just forever associate with Riverdale.
But it's not even it's just making me scratch my head. I guess we'll see what they do with chapter 2 and 3, which I know you're not going to see, but I'll go fucking see them.
Yeah, I probably won't.
But it's just the same movie again, and I was so confused.
Does this original movie have sequels?
It does have technically a sequel. It's not. I mean, it's just the strangers and they visit somebody else. It's not it's not really connected.
We'll get to the end, but I could see they kind of set up for the possibility for more. But So yeah,
I actually like the sequel. In some ways, the sequel is probably better than this one.
Oh, interesting. Okay, well, they kill Dennis. Also, I want to bring this up because I feel like my main complaint, it's not any one specific moment, but just like, especially I feel like up until this point, maybe less so after this point, like we've kind of mentioned like a lot of the scary parts of the movie are just like it's just tension building.
Yeah.
And I feel like maybe it just lasts a little too. I got kind of sick at some point of like, okay, I get it. There's lots of little noises and they might pop out somewhere. Like, can we, something needs to happen. I got a little impatient, even knowing, like, part of me was like, I don't want to see what happens. I don't want to know. I don't want to watch it. But also I'm like, let's get this over with, kind of.
Okay.
That was my biggest complaint with the movie. It's just like, I can't pinpoint when exactly I started feeling this way, but I was kind of like, all right. I was like, I get it. They're messing with them. What are they going to do? Let's get to the final. Like,
let me jump in here. Okay, so I kind of do agree. I think I really like this movie up until they shoot Dennis. And then we're kind of, kicking our feet a little bit for the 3/4 mark. That seems to be the major criticism of this movie is that, like, nothing happens. I don't know. I think it's a fun experiment.
Because to a certain extent, that is true. But also, around halfway through this movie, I was like, hey, Tyson, can you hand me one of those pillows? And you were like, yeah, sure.
And you were clutching
you totally thought I was going to, like, use it to, like, prop myself up, and instead, like, I buried my face in it. And I was like, I'm not having fun. I'm not having a good time. I'm scared.
Which I think, I never expected this movie to be groundbreaking, and I said that going into the movie. I said, this is a simple but really effective horror movie, which I thought the performances were good.
And I agree with that.
People...
But that was my complaint, is I feel like around this point, probably, I mean, obviously, them shooting Dennis, that is something big happening. But, like, around this, maybe a little bit before, maybe a little bit after, I was kind of like, all right, let's get to the point. Like, what are we doing here? Like, how long are we really going to mess with these people? Like, let's... Yeah. Okay. We all see the writing on the wall. We know what's going to happen to them. Let's get it done.
Okay, and so the strangers have at some point fucked up both their phones. So they're like, I have an old radio in the shack outside. And this is where they also kind of start not behaving rationally. Scott Speedman goes alone.
They're getting kind of desperate at this point, though.
Which is what I think.
I get it, yeah.
I mean, I feel like if you were under this much duress, you would not be thinking.
That is one thing with, like, horror movies, and, like, I'm guilty of this, too, is people always complain, like, oh my gosh, this is such a stupid decision. But, like, when you're under that much stress, I guess you're making decisions, like, just based on fight or flight, Which I guess is fair, but I think audiences might counter that argument with, well, I'm watching a movie, so make the characters... make smarter decisions. Sure.
I think there's a middle ground.
Or me being like, well, I wouldn't do that. I would make the right decision. I'm like, I think that's a pretty common, I'm not saying only I do that, I think a lot of people do.
Well, look, I would have walked around this whole house with the knife, and I would have examined every single room. So this never would have happened to me.
Like, in the beginning?
At the very beginning.
But what if you weren't alone? If you were with your partner?
I don't know.
You'd still walk around with a knife?
I guess I wouldn't if somebody else was there.
Right. Exactly.
He goes out alone to the radio with the gun. He
doesn't go well.
He gets attacked and he gets knocked out.
They see him. Also, the strangers, quote unquote, they have like super hearing. Like I swear to God, like he takes like one step and they like the one dude like whips his head and like goes after him.
It's a little bit selective because there's also parts which I mean you might chalk. They're like in the house and they're like 5 feet away from each other, but they're just looking in different directions. So it's like, but I don't know how much of that is like them fucking with them.
I think it's them messing with them.
But Cassian...
There's, like, one specific part where, like, we'll get to, I think that it's fully him messing with her.
Cassian, again, I keep bringing him up. He's our other roommate. He watched this with us.
Yeah.
And he was like, well, does no one have peripheral vision? Well, okay.
They're wearing masks.
Yeah, he's wearing masks. But then again, also, I don't know. It's a little bit selective.
They get the guy. He just kind of gets dragged off in the woods. They don't really know what even... He just kind of disappears.
And so then she...
So she's in the house by herself.
And she goes out to the radio.
She's like, what do we got to do? Well, she's like... a little sneakier with it.
Oh, no, she tries to just bolt to it, and then she falls down a ditch.
Oh, she trips, yeah. And she like, hurts her ankle. Yeah, she breaks her foot or something.
She, like, rolls her ankle and it's, like, broken.
So then she's, like, army crawling. Good for her.
And then...
Get that workout in.
She gets in and the radio doesn't work, and then one of the strangers is in there, and they slam the radio down with an axe.
Yes.
And it breaks it.
And she runs away.
And she was able to run away, which is where...
Which also, why wouldn't they just...
Which, again, I think they're fucking with her still.
Right.
Which I think goes with your point of, let's get this going. Like, why are we still...
She goes back in the house.
they basically get her. I don't remember what happens
because
exactly.
this is the part where she runs back in the house. She hides in like a closet.
Yes.
And it has like panels, so she can like kind of see through it.
A classic horror movie scenario.
Yeah, and so the one guy with the mask, he's like walking around and he's looking around, and like once or twice he looks directly at like the closet or pantry that she's in.
And you think he sees her, but he's like.
But then he actually doesn't. I fully think that he knew that she was in there personally. Well, I think they knew everything that was going on pretty much.
Because I'm pretty sure they've done this before.
That was the implication. Yeah. I think he fully knew that she was in there, and he was messing with her, and so she's like, "Oh my gosh, like I'm safe." Like
yeah, but then girl mask or one of the girls pops up and
grabs
so
her
it's not him, and then knocks her out too, and so they wake up in the morning, and they're tied to chairs next to each other, and they're basically like,
yeah, the guy's back. We don't really know where he went that whole time.
Yeah, they kind of hit him somewhere, and they're basically like, "Oh, I love you," and they basically are like, "Well, why did you do this?" And then she says, "Because you were home."
That's like the heavy hitter of the movie.
Which is like a mic drop moment. So there's a show on Shudder, the streaming service, that's like about 101 or 101 scariest movie moments. And that's one of them. I don't remember which one it was.
I think that's a really scary moment.
Because it's random acts of violence. And this came out in 2008 or 2007. But it came out the same year as Cloverfield. But like the thesis of that movie is also like, it's where a giant monster attacks New York.
That's not the same as 10 Cloverfield Lane,
No,
is it?
10 Cloverfield Lane is like a
I
sequel.
Okay.
But it's, basically the thesis is like, why is this happening to us? And it's also about a breakup. Both of these movies kind of fill a very similar niche. And some of this is from the Wikipedia article, so I'm half plagiarizing here. But I think this era of horror is kind of based on this idea of like random acts of things happening with no rhyme or reason. And it comes from what people speculate as like the response in America to post 9/11.
Oh, interesting. That makes a lot of sense.
Cloverfield is a lot more explicit with it because it's like very much that imagery. But The Strangers is kind of the same thing. And I also think on a thematic level, I think breakups kind of function in the same way because it's like a lot of the times breakups just kind of happen. There's not necessarily, I mean, a lot of time there is a reason, but then a lot of the time it's just like it's just like, a failed parent.
Right, yeah, like things just kind of fall apart.
Which I think is, the more literal metaphor of both of these films is that why did this happen to us and it just did.
Yeah, well, I mean, that's kind of like, I think the point I made when like we said we were going to watch this is like, for me, that's why I think I find this so much scarier than something like Evil Dead. Like, Evil Dead is like gross and it's like, like there's blood and they're doing all this crazy stuff versus like this is like, one, bad things happen with no rhyme or reason. Two, on like a more literal level, there's just like creepy people in the world that's like, I look in people's windows.
To be very clear,
and like
nothing like this, I am nearly positive nothing like this has ever actually happened to anyone.
Okay, because it's a very true story. But like there are like murderers and psychopaths and like serial killers and like stuff like that is real.
But even
so that's why I think it's like more scary than like something like Evil Dead or like The Conjuring, which like is also a scary movie, don't get me wrong.
Yeah, but those like, are more like jumpy and fun and like
versus like this is like truly unsettling, like sticks with you, like just no.
Well, okay. I'll give the remake this credit. You know how at the beginning it does that like disclaimer, it's like, bajillion violent crimes happen in America. Well, in the remake they add another line and it's like 3 violent crimes happen every second, 36 since you started watching this movie. And I was like, that's kind of fun. That's kind of fun.
Kind of cool.
But so basically,
but yeah, I agree. That's an interesting 9/11 interpretation of it.
Well, I mean, I just think
that makes sense though.
It's just like this like hopeless idea of like you don't know why. I mean, I'm not going to get into the geopolitical aspect of any of that, but like, but yeah, to like the average American at the time, I'm sure
it was very confusing. For sure.
Yeah, there's a lot of like emotions where they felt like their world was ending, and they didn't know why. But so the movie ends, and they knife them to death.
I think something that's interesting is they unmask themselves,
but they don't show it.
They don't show it, but I don't know. I found that interesting because like one in my mind, I thought this isn't what ended up happening, but at first I thought it was gonna be the type of thing where it's like, oh, well, like, maybe if they don't take their masks off, they don't have to kill them. Because, like, they would never know who... Well, I guess the one Tamara girl, maybe. But, like, that was one thing. So I was like, once they took the masks off, I was like, they're 100% gonna die. Like, that's it. It's over. Mm-hmm. But then also, like, I don't know. I feel like it's something, like, horrific of, like, them taking the masks off to show, like, we're just people. like we're human just like you, like we're not monsters, like we're
Yeah.
just doing this type of thing. Like I don't know, I thought that was like, even though you don't even see their faces, like I thought that was like a scary / powerful moment.
This is why I really don't understand like the violent hatred of this movie, which a lot of people really.
I don't hate this movie. I think it took a little long to get to the point.
I think yes, we do kind of kick our feet a little bit after the midpoint, but like I don't know. I feel like all the other aspects of this movie are so strong that it counteracts that, at least for me. Now, look, I have not seen many other Brian Bertino films. I think I've only seen The Monster. This is by far, I would say his best work out of the movies I've seen.
Out of the two.
Oh, well, I guess, okay, so they knife him before.
They kill them.
Yeah, they kill him.
Shocker. We all knew it was coming.
Some Mormon kids come and they're like knocking on doors and they enter the house and they find the violent crime scene.
Yes.
And Liv Tyler's still alive and she screams at them and...
Oh, I
that's
forgot
the
that
end of the
happened.
movie. Yeah, but jury's out on if she lived or not.
Oh, I forgot that happened.
Yeah, but I mean, it's just a little jump.
But also, as the strangers are driving away, they say,
Oh, yeah, they grab,
it'll
like-
be... They see the little Mormon boys. One of them takes like the
religious pamphlet.
and then they say, "Oh, it'll be easier next time." Which that's why I was like, "Oh, like it's kind of leaving opportunity for a sequel there, maybe."
Yeah.
Like, "Oh, they're gonna keep doing this." But yeah, that's
So
the movie.
I don't know. I think this has actually been one of our more actually engaging discussions of a movie we've watched. I don't know. I find it really just an interesting movie that's simple and effective, and I think it accomplishes what it sets out to do on its own. Sometimes people don't give the movie the credit it deserves because they are expecting something else. But I mean, there's room for all of that. I mean, Funny Games, again, is like much deeper is what I'm going to say, though. I mean, they're trying to accomplish
this
different
movie is
things.
subtle, that's why I think it's impressive that it's so scary because it's not. Well, not to say that nothing violent stuff does happen,
but like it's mostly nothing.
I think
mostly
the
happens.
scarier moments are the ones not when someone's getting stabbed, but just when someone's like standing there, you know? So that's why when I'm saying I don't like the movie, it's not that I think it's a bad movie. I think it's actually a pretty good movie. I just like, it was a little much for me personally. As someone who doesn't watch a lot of horror,
That's fine.
I was pretty scared. I was not having a good time.
Shout out to my mom. My mom calls this like the scariest movie she's ever seen.
I think this was like this and Hereditary. I mean, granted, I have not seen a lot of scary movies, but I think out of the ones I've seen, like this and Hereditary are probably top two scariest ones. I was pretty freaked out. I had to bury my face in a pillow.
That's The Strangers.
I didn't have fun.
Unless
I don't think you're supposed to have fun while watching this.
No, I don't think so.
No, I don't think so. So, you know what? I like to, I don't know about rate, but like, I mean, kind of, like rate movies based on like how successful they were. And this movie's goal was to scare you. And you know what? It scared me. So, in that sense, very well done movie.
Yep, I agree. All right, that's the movie. I guess, Kristina,
Yes.
what are we going to watch next week?
Oh my god, I was so glad you asked.
Oh, great. Okay.
Next week, we are going to watch the classic
Oh, boy.
2000s rom-com, How to Lose a Guy in 10 Days.
I haven't seen this one.
What do you know about this movie?
I've heard the title. I don't know who's in it.
You don't know, like, anything about it?
Matthew McConaughey in it?
Matthew McConaughey is in it.
Okay, then I guess I know that.
Okay.
That's literally all I know.
Wow, it's going to be so much fun. It's a great one.
I'm guessing she's going to try to lose him in 10 days.
Yeah, I mean, there's more to it than that, but yes. That's what we're going to watch.
Excited to watch it and give my thoughts.
I think you're going to have fun. It's a fun movie.
Listen, you keep showing me movies.
It's a silly little time.
And I love having a little silly time.
It's a little silly time. It's great. It's so fun.
Tonal whiplash from this movie.
Yeah. I feel like it's like the exact opposite of this movie, honestly.
This couple should have learned how to lose a trio of people in 10 days, or I guess a night. I don't know, I try to do something
That was
there.
an attempt at a joke. I respect the attempt.
Again, like I said, this has to be within the top worst podcast we've ever done.
Sometimes those are the ones people love the most.
Email in. Tell us if this podcast was shit. Get that listener engagement up.
Get the listener engagement. DM us on Instagram. Tell us how bad we are at this.
I guess that's the show.
Yeah. If you want to reach out to us, then you can.
Wow. You can.
There's a few ways you can do so.
Oh my god, tell me how.
First of all, we've got an email.
Do we?
We do. It's shutupandwatchpod@gmail.com.
Jesus, you don't know the email?
I don't know if the pod was in it or not. Meanwhile, we also have an Instagram. What? And that is Shut Up and Watch Pod. And it's on Instagram, and it's great. It's a fun time.
We should post more stuff.
We can. We
Okay,
can certainly
cool.
work on it. But feel free to reach out to us. Very exciting news. we now have an updated Letterboxd account.
What?
I know, isn't that crazy? Because we're such big film fans, and all of you listening, I'm sure have Letterboxd.
You follow our Letterboxd.
Follow Letterboxd accounts. We're gonna be updating which movies we're watching and putting links to them, and also making lists of whose movies are whose picks and our teeny tiny movie corner picks, and it's gonna be fun. So make sure to follow the Letterboxd at Shut Up and Watch. That's it. There's no pod at the end of that. Just shut up and watch.
Wow. Oh, wait, we also have a website which you can check. Now,
I was hoping you'd forget.
Now this website, everyone wants to keep it down. Everyone wants to censor me. They want to silence me. This website is my expression. It's Comic Sans, bright yellow, bright purple. It's horrible to look at. It's ugly, but it's my baby. And you don't want to see me cry. You don't want to call my baby ugly to my face.
Cry. Your baby's so ugly, and I hate it.
So you can check out our website. I don't even know what the URL to the website. It's like Shut Up and Watch themovie.podbean.com or something.
Good. No one go to the website.
Okay, fair enough.
If no one goes to the website, Tyson will maybe stop with it. All right, before we head out, real quick, we want to say thank you to a few people. Thank you to our good friend Ronan Lilly for editing the podcast, Bailey Johnson for our super cool logo, and Justin Higland for our super groovy jingle. If you like this episode and you like the show and you want to help us out, make sure you follow us on Apple Podcasts and or Spotify, rate us 5 stars, and leave a positive review.
Yeah. Leave a review. Leave a review that says, good job. I love you. And then we'll know you got to this far in the podcast.
That's right. And Tyson.
Yeah.
Did you know that if you don't share the podcast, the strangers will come and visit you?
Oh, no!
So that's pretty bad. So you guys might want to share the podcast, because I don't know about you, but I don't want to get visited by any strangers.
He's right behind me, isn't he?
Because you gotta say it with the flair.
Because I didn't... Did I not?
He's right behind me, isn't he?
All right.
You gotta do the cringy, like, Reddit.
I got you.
Yeah.
Look. That's all I gotta say. Just look.
Bye. We're
Bye.
leaving. Bye.